YNR spoilers reveal Michael's unmasking and the escalating showdown between Newman and Abbott. When Michael discovers Victor's ruthless schemes, his life is thrown into chaos. Known as the legal defender of the Newman family, Michael can no longer stand by and watch his boss, Victor, go too far in his quest for power and influence. Victor's plot to kill Kyle is not only a terrifying step in the family war, but also a shock to Michael, who has always believed in the Newman family's values. This puts him in a dilemma, as he must face the truth about the brutal actions of the man he once considered a second father. Michael decides that he can no longer be an accomplice to Victor's dark deeds. Although he knew that standing up to Victor could endanger his career and life, Michael's love and loyalty to Kyle Abbott, his close friend and family member, made him unable to contain his anger any longer. Victor's betrayal was not only a challenge to the Abbott family, but also a violation of the principles that Michael had believed in all his life. Determined to protect Kyle and the Abbott family, Michael decided to speak up, warning Kyle about the dangerous plots that Victor was plotting to harm him. Michael's warning came as a shock to Kyle, who had always believed in Victor's respect and loyalty. However, after hearing Michael talk about the plot to kill him, Kyle began to become more aware of what was happening in the dark. Victor's calculations were not simple. Michael will not only be Kyle's protector, but he will also open Kyle's eyes to what is really going on in the Newman family, where power and manipulation rule every action. Meanwhile, Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, Victor's arch-rival, cannot pass up the opportunity to exploit this family war. With Michael standing up to Victor, Jack realizes that this is the ideal time to create a breakthrough in the rivalry between the two families. Jack will interrupt the private discussion between Victor and Michael, which will not only anger Victor but also give Jack the opportunity to once again assert his position. Jack's unexpected appearance in this tense situation will not only add drama to the confrontation but also make the situation even more unpredictable. Once Jack shows his joy and complacency about his victory, he does not hesitate to provoke Victor, which will give Michael a great opportunity to push forward his plan. However, Jack's confidence will not only increase the hostility between him and Victor, but also make Michael feel awkward in this battle. Both Michael and Jack will face their own difficulties, but in Jack's eyes, every victory, whether small or large, is an opportunity to take down Victor. Jack, who has been taken down by Victor and suffered extremely heavy losses in the past, will never miss the opportunity to retaliate. Even if it is just a small victory in this power struggle, Jack will not stop provoking Victor. Jack's confidence and this provocative attitude will further increase the tension between the two families. Every step Jack takes has a clear purpose: to make Victor lose his temper and make him react strongly. However, things will not be as easy as Jack thinks. Michael, despite standing up for Kyle and the Abbott family, will inevitably find himself in serious trouble as the rivalry between Newman and Abbott intensifies. Victor is not one to be intimidated, and when he feels provoked or insulted, he will not hesitate to retaliate in the most brutal of ways. Michael will not only have to deal with Victor, but also figure out how to protect Kyle, the Abbott family, and himself from the dangers that lie ahead. Although Michael has tried to predict a better future if Victor and Jack stop fighting, that may not happen anytime soon. The rivalry between the two most powerful families in Genoa City will only become more intense and complicated, as intrigue, betrayal, and greed are the driving forces behind every decision in the characters' lives. Unexpected results and uncertain futures. As the battle between Victor and Jack intensifies, no one can predict the final outcome. Will Michael remain loyal to his ideals and protect Kyle, or will he be drawn into more complex intrigue within the Newman family? Will Jack be able to seize this opportunity to gain the upper hand, or will Victor once again prove his power and manipulation? This story is just beginning, and the actions of Michael, Jack, and Victor will undoubtedly reshape the future of both the Newman and Abbott families. But one thing is clear: when power and ambition collide, no one wins in this game for long. And the only ones who can change things are the decisions of each individual in this relentless struggle. Bad deals and dark conspiracies. Victor Newman's power play in the world of dark intrigue and conspiracy in Genoa City. No one can surpass Victor Newman's sharp calculations. One of the latest battles in his life is slowly revealed, when Audra accepts Victor's offer, putting herself in the middle of a dangerous deal. Victor's plans always come with a heavy price. While many in the Newman family and his rivals are always afraid to confront his evil schemes, Victor is happy to see Audra, a woman of ambition and ability, finally agree to participate in his power play. This deal not only threatens his moral values, but also destroys everything Audra has built. Audra accepted Victor's offer, despite being warned by Sally Spectra about the possible consequences. Sally, who had been watching Victor's every move, knew all about the tricks he used to manipulate others. However, Audra did not pay much attention to those warnings. She believed that she could control everything and would not let anyone stand in the way of her goals. Audra's determination was further strengthened by the feeling that she could control the events around her, which would probably help her achieve her bigger goals in the future. When Audra told Sally about this incident, she did not hesitate to admit that she had agreed to Victor's plan, even though she knew that it was not simple. When Sally asked difficult questions about his motives and the consequences of this, Audra just laughed and said that she had prepared herself for the worst. However, this did not escape Nate Hastings's eyes. He, who has always had a keen sense of what is going on, begins to suspect something is not right with Audra. Audra tries to explain that if Nate finds out everything, she will be honest and not hide anything. However, she also emphasizes that, in reality, she does not care about Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, and will only try to trap him in an inappropriate situation. This not only worries Nate, but also puts a strain on their relationship. Audra is playing a very dangerous game, and she knows that she could fall for it if she is not careful. Victor's plan is a powerful blow, not only to Kyle, but also to everyone around him. Although not everyone agrees with Audra's actions, she is determined to make this deal clear and transparent, demanding a formal contract and control of her own company. In fact, Audra feels that she has learned from her past mistakes and will not fall into the trap again. She knows that once she is involved in Victor's scheme, things will not be easy and may lead to unforeseen consequences. One of the next steps in this story is the confrontation between Kyle and Claire, Addison Marks. While Kyle begins to feel his relationship with Claire is going strong, he decides to ask her an important question: would she like to move in with him? This seems like a big step in their relationship, but for Claire, it all happened too quickly and makes her feel uncomfortable. She begins to worry about whether this decision will upset Victor. Claire has always known that her relationship with Kyle is not just a romantic one but is also tied to the tensions in the Abbott and Newman families. The conversation between Kyle and Claire will not be easy. Claire feels that their relationship is moving too fast and is unsure if she is ready to face the consequences of this decision. Kyle, however, cannot wait any longer and wants to be clear about where they are going. This creates tension not only in Kyle and Claire's relationship but also in the Abbott household, as Kyle is forced to face the fact that this relationship may anger Victor, which could have serious consequences for him and his family. A dark future and dangerous choices as Victor's dangerous dealings begin to unfold. No one can predict how this game will play out. Audra has accepted Victor's offer, but she will pay a price for her choices. Will she be able to continue to control the situation, or will she be drawn into a trap set by Victor himself? Kyle, meanwhile, will face resistance from Claire and her family as his relationship with her becomes strained. Every move Audra, Kyle, and Claire make will determine their future in this power struggle. Victor's dark schemes continue to unfold, and while some may think they are in control, the truth is that anything can change in a moment. Will Victor continue to maintain his power, or will these dealings lead to his downfall? And can Audra escape Victor's web before it's too late? All these questions will be answered in the following episodes, as the relationships and plots of the characters become more complex and dangerous than ever. A new life for Kyle and Claire, a relationship with Victor Newman's intervention. Life in the world of powerful families is always full of difficult decisions and unexpected challenges. For Kyle and Claire Newman, their love story is not just a connection between two people but also an inseparable part of the power struggles within the family. One of the next decisive steps in this relationship is Kyle's decision to find a new home for him and Claire. With Kyle's determination, finding a new place to live is not too big of a problem, but convincing Claire to agree is another story. Their relationship has faced many ups and downs, and starting a new chapter in their lives requires them to overcome many challenges. Kyle is not surprised to find that convincing Claire of this idea will not be easy, especially since she has always been cautious and thoughtful before making any big decisions. However, Kyle believes that their love will help her see things in a more positive light. During their conversation, Claire cannot hide her concern when she asks Kyle if moving in together will upset her father, Victor Newman. Claire's question is not out of skepticism about Kyle's feelings, but out of concern for Victor's feelings, who has always seen her as an integral part of the Newman family's plans. This question shows that Claire is not as naive as everyone thinks, and that she is truly aware of the impact her decisions will have not only on herself but also on her family. This shows the depth of Claire's character, as she does not want to upset Victor, even though she knows that her relationship with Kyle may not please him. Although Claire admits that she loves Victor and doesn't want to upset him, she also understands that he may not change his mind about the relationship easily. However, a part of Claire still hopes that Victor will change his mind, that love will make him realize that she is an adult and has the right to decide her own life. Will Victor be able to overcome his ego and accept that his daughter is entering a new phase, or will he remain stubborn and continue to interfere in her life? While Claire is hesitant, Kyle is completely confident in his decision. With the support of the Abbott family, he believes that everything will be okay, and that moving to a new house will be the right move for both of them. Although he knows that confrontation with Victor is inevitable, Kyle feels that his relationship with Claire is strong enough to overcome any challenge. He believes that family will be the strongest support for both of them in all these important decisions. Although Claire is still worried about upsetting Victor, her family is the biggest supporter of this decision. Although Victor's interference is inevitable, they all believe that she is mature enough to make important decisions about her life. The relationship with Kyle is not only a love story but also a part of the struggle with Victor's control over the Newman family. Every step Claire takes in asserting herself will be a big challenge for Victor, who always thinks that he has the right to interfere in every important decision in the family. It is possible that Claire will stand up to Victor, not allowing him to interfere in Kyle and her private life. Although she knows that Victor's opposition is inevitable, Victoria will not hesitate to confront him to protect her brother. She will tell Victor that she does not accept his interference in Kyle's decisions, and that she will support this relationship to the end. For Victoria, this is not just a matter of love, but a fight against the tyranny and control that Victor has imposed on all members of the family. However, even with the support of Victoria and the Abbott family, will her warning be enough to convince Victor to stop? Given Victor's character, it is understandable that he would ignore Victoria's advice. With his ambition and belief in his power, Victor will not easily lose control, especially when it comes to the relationship between Claire and Kyle, two people he has always considered part of the family's grand plan. Victor will not hesitate to use any means to interfere in Claire's life, and this could lead to a fierce confrontation between him and the Abbott family. Warning of implications and family struggles as tensions rise between Victor and the Abbotts, no one can predict the final outcome of this confrontation. Will Victor stumble and lose Claire, or will he find a way to turn things around and maintain control over her life? How will Claire and Kyle's relationship be affected by Victor's powerful father's intervention? These decisions will not only affect Claire and Kyle's future, but also change the entire power structure within the Newman and Abbott families. One thing is for sure, this fight will not be easy. Despite the support of the Abbotts, Claire and Kyle will face great challenges. Victor, with all his power and manipulation, will not give up easily. Will the Abbotts be able to stand firm against Victor's pressure, or will this fight only push their relationship further into a stalemate? The story between Kyle, Claire, and Victor is just beginning, and it's sure to be full of twists and surprises. Each character's decisions will determine their future, and no one can be sure where they'll end up in this power struggle. Victor Newman and Michael Baldwin. Unmasking, betrayal, and family war. In the world of power and intrigue in Genoa City, no one can overcome the fierce struggles between the Newman family and the Abbott family. In this war, every step, every decision has unpredictable consequences. One of the most notable turning points in the past few weeks has been Michael's unmasking and the dark plots that Victor is gradually exposing. Michael's betrayal will not only put Victor in a deadlock, but also create an opportunity for Jack Abbott to gain the upper hand in this fierce competition. Michael, who has been Victor's ally for many years, cannot stand idly by as he witnesses Victor's ruthless actions. With the plot to kill Kyle Abbott, Michael feels that he cannot contain his anger any longer. His anger stems not only from his love for the Abbott family, but also from the betrayal he feels from the very person he once trusted. Michael stands up to protect Kyle and the Abbott family, not only with words but also with fierce actions. He will speak up to warn Kyle about the plots that Victor is plotting against him, at the same time exposing the dark sides of Victor that no one has dared to speak about before. This betrayal is the turning point that Michael needs to find himself, and also his way of affirming that no matter who he is, no matter what his relationship with the Newman family, he will never support Victor's unethical and barbaric actions. Audra Charles and Victor's evil plan. As the story gradually revolves around Victor's bad deals and criminal schemes, we cannot help but mention Audra's role in this plot. Although Sally had warned Audra about the dangers of accepting a deal with Victor, Audra did not hesitate. She accepted Victor's offer, feeling that this was an opportunity not to be missed. Audra was not only a strong woman, but also an ambitious one, always looking for ways to control every situation in her life. Audra, in her thirst for power and success, felt that she needed to do something to assert her position in this scheming world. She believed that she could control everything, even when faced with the dark deals and dangers that Victor brought. She did not hesitate to join Victor's plan, even though Sally had warned her of the possible consequences. Audra may have believed in herself, but there was no denying that she was betting everything on a risky game. While Audra decides to accept the deal with Victor, she is also well aware that this will have far-reaching implications for her life and those around her. This will make her an indispensable part of Victor's evil plan, and will expose her to unforeseen dangers. However, one thing is certain, Audra will not give up easily. She will have to face internal conflicts, betrayals from those around her, and increasingly complex conspiracies. Jack Abbott and the uncompromising conflict with Audra's involvement in Victor's plan, the war between Newman and Abbott becomes even more complicated. Jack, who has always been Victor's arch-rival, will not let this opportunity pass. Jack will interrupt Victor's private discussion with Michael, which alone is enough to anger Victor. Jack, who is always looking for an opportunity to undermine his rival, will constantly provoke Victor with his smug attitude. When Jack shows his joy and pride in his victorious moves, Michael will not miss the opportunity to ask questions and create opportunities to mock Victor. This will create a tense atmosphere not only between Victor and Jack, but also cause Michael to be drawn into this conflict, standing between two powerful forces. With his confidence, Jack will not hesitate to provoke Victor. Every word, every action of Jack will make Victor unable to bear. Jack is gloating over his victory, but he does not forget that this is just a step in his long-term plan. Can this fight continue peacefully, or will it lead to a ruthless war between the two families? Victor, with his strong character and inability to accept defeat, is not one to give up easily. Even though Michael and Jack have thwarted his schemes, Victor will not stop. Although he knows that the opposition from the Abbott family and the warnings from Michael will cause difficulties, Victor will still act in the way he sees best for his own benefit. His decisions will continue to cause chaos, and this power struggle will only become more intense. Although Michael may give advice on how everyone would be better off if Victor and Jack stopped fighting, his wish will not be easily realized. This confrontation will continue, and Victor will not miss the opportunity to retaliate against those who have challenged his power. As the competition between Newman and Abbott becomes more intense, Michael will face more trouble.